Yeah, you know what it is. Another classic episode of the Miller Experience. And we have a very special guest today, like always. I already know how we do, right? Hey, but before I introduce my guest, I want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing to the channel. We're currently at 1,086 subscribers. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep showing the love. We love it all. All right, guys, my guest. He's a celebrated actor, writer, director, and producer known for international acclaim. He earned his MFA in Performing Arts from Savannah College, Art and Design, and holds a BA in Film from Payne College in Augusta, Georgia. In 2023, he made his history as the first actor to portray Marcus Garvey in a narrative film, Mosiah, on Amazon Prime, which we're going to discuss later on today. A groundbreaking project he also wrote. This film is the first narrative portrayal of Garvey's life. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you guys to a future legend in the film game, Samuel Lee Fudge. What up, brother?
What's up, brother? Thank you, man. Thank you guys for having me. Most definitely.
No doubt, man. Hey, let me ask you a question, right? I'm from Jacksonville. We talked on Instagram. I'm from Jacksonville. You from Miami, right?
Yeah.
Question, bro. I don't know a mofo from Florida, last name Fudge, that was whacking football. Tell me you football, bro.
Yeah. Well, you think of fudge, that's like cornbread, mashed potatoes, hefty, hearty, like linebackers, running back.
Hell yeah, bro. At least all his and safety. Yeah. You play ball?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I didn't get as far as I didn't get further than high school.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when everybody else started growing and I stayed the same height. So I was
How tall are you?
5'7".
Oh, me, you the same height, man. Hey, don't trip.
Hey, running back though, man. Running back.
I played running back and outside linebacker in high school and college.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. It was one play. I remember we were scrimmaging, and I was to pass block, and the quarterback says, "Hey, whatever the case, I'm getting set. I'm trying to pass block, right?" This big ass D lineman runs at me full speed. Mind you, we ain't even have on pads. He runs at me full speed, and I go to block him. And when I say he knocked my ass on my butt, I think that was the last day I touch a football. I ain't doing this for like I'll watch it. This ain't for me. I told my mom this ain't for me. I need to go to acting.
Let me get into that. Hey, well, tell our viewers about you and tell us how do you get into acting and writing.
Yeah, man. So like mentioned, my name is Samuel Lee Fudge. I'm from Miami, Florida, Miami-Dade County. More specifically, I say Perron, Colonial Drive, Richmond Heights, all the way on down to Homestead. Growing up, I was raised by a single mother. So we moved place to place, just trying to find some sense of stability, whether we live with family members or friends, even at times where we were financially stable of our own, that it didn't last too long. So we found ourselves kind of all over South Miami Dade. Acting for me became a escape from reality. I came up in very humble circumstances. Of course, the typical story, community drowned with gang violence, gun violence, drug infestation, prostitution, all these things, that kills our communities even today. And also just growing up without my father there full time, I spent my childhood very lonesome and yearning to have a better life than what I had. And so acting for me became that escape. I would watch TV and I'd seen different characters, Family Matters, where, we have a father in a household with Black kids and a mother there and the grandmother there. And they ate hearty meals for dinner. They sat at a dinner table. That shit was out of this world for me. It was far from my reality. So I always said to myself that I wanted to be on that other end of the TV to live a better life than I was living. And so that's where acting came from. Writing came from. I got once I started acting and playing different parts and being in different narratives, I was like, wait a minute, like I want to participate in stories that matter to me, or stories that touch home for me, or stories that can motivate our people or young Black boys who grew up just like me. And so that's where writing came. I decided to grab the pen and create those narratives so I could build influence to our people, you know. But early on, I always knew that I wanted to be somewhat of a performing activist. The activist part came from me wanting to change my community, me wanting to change my circumstances, and change the circumstances of Black people just in general, and also change everything that I saw was wrong. And the performing aspect, once again, just came from me wanting to escape reality, but also I wanted to, I love the idea of making people feel something. I loved making people laugh. You could go through a horrible day, and just by me making you laugh, your day has changed. Or I wanted you to cry if I wanted you to feel some type of way. And I realized early on how acting had that impact. And so I put those two things together, and that's where this performing activist ideology came from. And that's what led me to Mosiah.
So your style is you're an actor, an activist. Who does your writing fit for? For example, like Quentin Tarantino, he got a certain type of writing style.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee got a certain type of writing style. Even Tyler Perry. Who does
Mm-hmm.
your writing fit for?
Oh man, I'd say close to so Nate Parker is a mentor of mine. So I say close to Nate Parker, on the lines of Spike Lee, with a little bit of Barry Jenkins, just with that reality of Miami, that gritty. Barry Jenkins shows that gritty Miami aspect. And I say a lot of my style comes from like old head filmmakers, like Robert Townsend. I studied old film. My mom, we would always watch movies. I guess it was like an escape for her as well. But she put me on Spike Lee. She put me on Robert Townsend. She put me on all these other great Black filmmakers who were doing it independently. And I think that's where the passion for just doing it independently came from, because I saw in their work and these guys' work, they were talking about any and everything they wanted to talk about, free range, and there was no filter, there was no barrier on their work. They were able to connect to the young Black kid in the ghetto, which was me, and there was, like I said, there was no barriers to that. And so a lot of my style comes from, even my acting, it comes from old actors, performers, Sidney Poitier, Bill Duke, all the people we know as legends, so I guess that's why now people can compare my work to being legendary, because shoot, I studied from the legends,
Bro, no BS, man. Before I ask my next question, I was watching a movie, man, and just you did a hell of a job. Congratulations, bro. I'm surprised it's not as much known as it should be, but you did a hell of a job. Not even bullshitting you when I say this. Your performance remind me of Denzel Washington and Malcolm X.
Oh yeah,
I really thought you was Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
You watch Malcolm X, you actually thought Jamie Foxx. You see him in Ray. You don't see Jamie Foxx. You see Ray Charles, Denzel Washington, and X. You see Malcolm X. You didn't see Denzel.
Yeah.
Samuel L Fudge, Mosiah. I saw Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, hell of a job, bro.
Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, it's even man, imagine witnessing it in person. Now I'm able to now that the movie is doing what it's doing, I'm able to now travel internationally and within the States and perform as Garvey. And so maybe a few weeks back, I actually had the chance to perform here in Atlanta at the First Bethel LME. That day that I performed was the actual day 108 years ago where Marcus Garvey actually performed that. And I got to perform at the actual, I can't think of it. What's the podium? I stood at the actual podium that he stood at 108 years ago, and just people were able to get that firsthand experience, of Garvey, but also my work. It was scared. It scared a few people. I remember after, like, the producer of the Mosiah, actually, she came up to me and she was like, "Man, there was a guy in there. He was just frightened out his mind because he thought that you were Garvey. He said he couldn't just. He said he couldn't just be there. He had to leave. He had to turn his head because it was just too much for him." So when you're too much for a person, for an audience, and they actually believe that you are that character, that's not even acting at that point. That's the spirit, working within you. So I wouldn't be surprised with Denzel and his portrayal of Malcolm X. I wouldn't be surprised if him and I correlated on most of the techniques that we use. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you last question before Craig asks you a question. When do you realize you look like Marcus Garvey?
As a kid, that was one of the things that gravitated me to Marcus Garvey. I saw this legend, this figure who everyone adorned, everyone admired. He was of high esteem, and damn, he looked just like me. You know, I was used to being called. I was chubby growing up, so I was used to being called like fat and black and African booty scratcher and all these names. You know, and so like. I was like, fuck that. I found somebody who's respected, and he looks just like me. And I tell people all the time, like me and him had somewhat of I had an admiration for him serving as like a father figure to me. So and all that came from just honestly, and I think my interest for him as well grew deeper, just being able to identify with him,
Go ahead, Craig.